Hello students, welcome to the business studies class. In today's class students, we are going to discuss the demerits of joint stock company. So let's move toward the merits. First one is limited liability. As you have gone through this word so many times, limited liability means the person is only liable up to a certain limit. Whatever the capital contributed by him, he is only limited by that amount. So, due to this reason, the shareholders' degree of risk also reduced. So, in this way, it became more attractive. Then, transfer of interest. Now, what does transfer of interest means? Easy transferability of shares. It means you can easily, a shareholder can easily sell his shares. Sell his shares and it can convert into cash anytime. So this facility is provided in the joint stock company students for the public company only. So a shareholder can easily transfer his shares. Now third one is perpetual existence. As in the features, this term also came. Perpetual existence means the company's life does not affected by the life of the member. Next one is scope for expansion. As there is uh, no limit for the members in a public company, there is no maximum limit for the members. So there is a huge amount that can be that can be collected by the shareholders or the members of the company. So there is a huge scope for expansion. Next one is efficient management. They said as the company can afford company due to large profits can afford the qualified experts. So the management of the company is quite efficient if we compare it with the other forms of business. Now next topic is limitations. First limitation is complexity in formation. We know that forming a company is quite a lengthy process, quite a lengthy and expensive process, students. So that's why we don't like to form a company due to this lengthy procedure. There are so many legal formalities to be fulfilled. Now, lack of secrecy. How the company has to show its accounts in a public. It has to give its annual reports. It has to give its annual reports in the public. So that's why there is no secrecy in the company. Company has to show its profits publicly. Now, impersonal work environment, how there is a difference between the shareholders and the board of directors. Owners are the shareholders who are it is owned by the shareholder but managed by the professional. So this is the very big difference. Because in sole proprietorship students, if we look that the person is doing all the work, he is doing all the work. So definitely he will do much hard work to earn more and more profit. But here in the company, there is a difference between the owner and the management. So managers are getting salary for their work. They are not so much hardworking because they know that they will get the salary on time. So in this way, students, impersonal work environment has been created, which is not found in partnership, joint Hindu family business, and the sole proprietorship, because there the people know that whatever work they will do, it will directly affect their business. Next one is numerous regulation. As I have told you earlier, it is having so many legal formalities. It has like auditing is necessary, voting, filling report, then preparation of the documents. It is required everywhere. There are so many guidelines that has been provided by the Stock Exchange Board of India, SEBI, that we call. So there are numerous rules and regulations on the company. Now delay in decision. We know that the company is having a wide area. It consists board of directors. It consists board of directors. Now in board of directors, again we are having the top management, middle management, and the lower management. So it has to take approval from so many of the persons, so many of the people. So in this way, what happened, generally there would be a delay in any of the action. Whenever we have to take any of the decision, generally it get late. Oligarchic management, listen this term carefully, students. Oligarchic management. Now generally what happened, like in our country, it is a democratic country. We elect our prime minister. We elect our prime minister who runs the country now, who is running the country. He takes all the decision. He does not involve us. Same here in the company. It has been managed by the board of directors, and board of directors are elected by the shareholders. So what happened? Generally, sometimes they are saying that they take decision just because of their personal interest, just because of their personal interest. They don't involve the shareholders sometime. So in this way, it is known as the oligarchic management. It means in few hands, when we are having the management in few hands only. Now next is conflicts in interest. Conflicts in interest, we are having the different various groups like shareholders, debenture holders, employees, and everyone wants. They want that their share of profit should be increased. So they said that sometime there may be conflicts between the various group. Like the shareholder want that they must get the dividend, more and more dividend. Debenture holder wants more and more interest. Employees wants more and more salary. So everyone is having their personal opinion regarding the profits. So there may be conflicts among the various groups. Now types of companies. Basically, in the past time, there were only two types, private and the public company. But now there's a new concept, one person company, that is known as the OPC. So let's discuss about that restrict its shares. It cannot invite its shares to the public, to the general public. It cannot restrict its shares, right? It cannot transfer the shares. It cannot transfer the shares to the public. Then its minimum members are 2 and maximum number of members are 200. Then prohibits any invitation. It cannot invite the general public to subscribe its shares. So a private company has to use a PVT limited with its name. Now what is public company? A public company can be known as a company which has minimum 7 members. Minimum 7 members and maximum there is no limit. Like in private company, there was a limit of 200 members, but in the public company, there is no maximum limit. Then there is no restriction on transfer of shares, transfer of securities. What is transfer of security? It means that the person can easily, a shareholder can easily transfer, means sell its share anytime. It means the ownership can be transferred to the another person. Then it can easily invite the general public. It can easily invite the general public. Now, public companies again divided into two parts, a company that is limited by guarantee and a company that is limited by shares. In guarantee, the person has to, a member has to give guarantee at the time of winding up. It means when the company is going to be closed, that time the person has to contribute to the assets of the company. Then a company which is limited by shares, it means a member is limited by the memorandum to the amount. If any unpaid on the shares respectively held by them, he has to make payment of that. Now moving to the next type of company, that is the one person company. Now, what is one person company? It means a company that is organized by a single person. That means a company, an OPC. An OPC means a company with only one person as its member. But there is a restriction on the OPC that if its paid up share capital exceeds rupees 50 lakh, if it exceed rupees 50 lakh, what will be happen? Or its average annual profit turnover increases by the 2 crore, then it will be no more like a one person company. It has to convert itself in the private or public company. Now, next topic is what are the privileges? What are the benefits have been given to the private company over the public company? Like what are the differences? These are the benefits for the private company. Like private company can be organized by only 2 members, but for the public company they need at least 7 members. Then a private company only consists 2 directors, but for the public company there should be at least 3 directors. For the private company, it is not necessary to maintain the index. It is not necessary to maintain the index, but for the public company it is necessary. Fourth one is a private company can issue the loan to its directors without the prior permission of the government, but for the public company it is not possible. It has to take the permission from the government. Fifth one is for the private company it is not necessary to hold a statutory meeting. It means during the year a public company is required to call all the members for a general meeting. Every 6 months it has to call all its members for a general meeting, but for the private company it is not so. Then sixth point is given here, there is a no restriction on the number, appointment, remuneration of the directors of a private company, but there are so many restrictions on the appointment of the number of the members, remuneration. Regarding the remuneration, the public company has to decide it, but for the private company it is not there. Then point number 7 is there. It is not necessary for a private company to issue a prospectus because private company does not call the general public, so it does not issue the prospectus to the general public. But for the public company it is necessary to invite the general public through the prospectus. Last point, private company can start its business just after getting the certificate of registration, but for the public company only after receiving the certificate of commencement of business. Certificate of commencement, actually there's a procedure of formation of a company. So after the certificate of registration, the private company can start its business, but for the public company it will start its business or operations only after getting the certificate for the commencement of business. So these are the privileges that the private company was having over to the public company. Now, what is the difference between the public company and the private company? Whatever the privileges were there, these are the same differences in the private and public company. Like number of members, there are 2 members minimum and there are 7 members. There are maximum 200 members and there are maximum no limit. In the public company there is no limit. The number of directors, there are 2 directors at least and there are 3 directors. Everything is more in the public company. There are so many restrictions on the public company. Then general public invitation, not for the private company, and public company not for the private company, but the public company can invite the general public. Prospectus, it does not invite the public, so there is no need here. It invite the public, so there is a need of issue the prospectus. Then transfer of shares, it it cannot transfer its shares easily. There are so many restrictions. Here in the public company, if you have purchased the shares of any of the public company, you can easily sell your share whenever you want to sell these. Then index of members, not compulsory to maintain by the private company, but for the public company it is necessary to maintain. Then legal formalities, it has less legal formalities, and it is having, public company is having so many legal formalities. Then it needs, what is the minimum paid up capital? 1 lakh for the private company, and for the public company it's 5 lakh rupees. So these are the basic differences, and you must know with the basis of the point of differences, with the basis of the differences, you must know the differences. Now, when you are going to, we know that there are so many forms of business. We started our chapter with the sole proprietorship, then we have gone through the joint Hindu family business, then partnership, cooperative society, and this one joint stock company. So we are having the various forms of business. So when we are going to start a business, what should be the factor that we should keep in mind? So there are here some points have been discussed. Like first point here, cost and ease in setting up in the organization. Cost and ease. If we look at the sole proprietorship, it is the least expensive and can be easily set up. Can be easily set up with the very few, without any legal formalities. So it would be the best option if we look at the legal formalities. Now second point is capital consideration. Now business requires less amounts of finance. Those business that requires less capital, so they must prefer the sole proprietorship and partnership. But where the huge capital is required, they should prefer the joint stock company. Now nature of business, if you want to have a small scale business, you can set up the sole proprietorship. But when you are doing the business on a large scale, so you must prefer the company. Then degree of control, if you want to have overall control, so you must prefer the sole proprietorship rather than the partnership in the company. Then liability, we know that the liability in a sole proprietorship and in partnership is unlimited. So for the risky ventures, we must go for the company because there's a limited liability. Then continuity, if we want to have a temporary business, we can prefer the sole proprietorship and the sole proprietorship, partnership and the sole proprietorship. But if we want to have the business for a long time, we want to have the business, so we should prefer the joint stock company. Then management ability. If we want to have the efficient management, so we must select the company because it can easily afford the good management, good workers, because we can easily make the payment to these employees. So for that we can easily hire. For that reason, we should prefer the joint stock company. So these are the different points that should be kept in mind before starting any of the business.